Hi, I'm Jason, and this is my entry into the 2014 Christmas Ornament Challenge. It's made out of black walnut and maple, and I turned it on my lathe. Stick around and I'll show you how I made it.
To start making the checkered blank, I found some scrap walnut and maple, and you can see that one was shorter than the other, so I need to cut them off even with each other. And this was simple, just using the table saw with the sled. Next, I glued these two pieces together. I had previously ran them on the joiner, so I had two really good glue surfaces to, two good surfaces that the glue could glue together. So I went with what they already had. Besides, those are going to get turned on the lathe anyway, so it doesn't have to be 100%, but I did want good straight glue lines, so there were no gaps. And spring clamps was always required to hold these together. Nothing too complicated. After it was dry, pull the clamps off and just check that bottom was still fairly flat, and went ahead and ran that bottom section through the joiner to true up the bottom, because that's gonna now become my next glue surface. I also went ahead and trued up a black walnut block that I glued up. Here I'm gonna cut the two pieces that we just glued together into half. These two halves will get glued together to each other now, and I'll alternate the walnut and the maple, so it'll create a checkered pattern on the ends. And again, spring clamps was always required to hold this together while it dried. Being careful and make sure that they line up perfectly. Okay, now I'm going to take that black walnut block and square off the ends using the table saw and the sled. I wanted to make sure that this was square, so when I glued it to the black walnut maple block, that it's fairly straight, so when I put it on the lathe I wouldn't have to take off a lot of wood to get it round. There we go. Next, I need to glue these two blocks up, and I found the easiest way was to do it standing up on the edge of the bench and use one of my bar clamps to hold it all together. So just let it dry. Alright, now we're clamping it into my chuck on the lathe, and run the tailstock up, obviously to keep it running true, and go ahead and rough out the basic shape into a round cylinder. Now I start doing some detailing. and saw the final piece off. And then I used a sanding pad to sand down that little nub on the top side. Looks like it was never there. Used some linseed oil to finish it. The linseed oil really brings the black walnut and maple out. And for hanging, I'm just going to drill a 1/16 hole in the top. Screw a little eye screw into the top. I find that sometimes if it's being difficult to screw it down into the wood, a small screwdriver in the eye helps give you a little more torque or a little more leverage. And finally, use some thin red ribbon. And this is the part you use to hang it on the tree.
This is a really fun project, and I really had a lot of fun making it, and it's a perfect thing to get you into the Christmas season. So thanks for watching, and Merry Christmas to everyone, and for my German friends, Frohe Weihnachten.